Now, the Oscars was a pretty big night. I mean, obviously, it's always a pretty big night, one of the biggest nights of the year. Um, and it was especially big if you were a Batman fan because of this clip right here. I'm not gonna play the entire thing, just in case I like copyright. But
Well, Arnold and I are presenting tonight together for a very obvious reason.
We both tried to kill Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to try. As the Penguin in Batman Returns.
And I was Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin.
How did Batman beat you?
Oh, he used my one weakness against me.
Heat.
Love.
Oh. He threw me out a window. Yeah, really. Yeah, he's really.
Batman, that son of a bitch.
Where is he?
Yeah.
He's here.
I hate him.
There he is. He's right here. He's right here. Look.
You have a lot of nerve to show your face around
you
here.
got, you know.
just, oh my god, I just love it. And just, no, just Keaton's look right here. He looks like Bruce Wayne right here. Like right here, he just looks like Bruce Wayne a little bit. Like I just thought this was really fun as someone who loves Michael Keaton as Batman, and like who loved Batman Returns with like Danny DeVito as Penguin. Batman and Robin. Well, we'll just not talk about that. But like this this was like really funny. It was really great. I have no doubt that they probably rehearsed this beforehand. Like they had him on camera like that. Like this was definitely planned out, but I still loved it. It was still great. But and the thing is that, with some people, Michael Keaton's Batman might be a bit controversial because he kills. And speaking of Batman killing, there has been some controversy. Now, again, this is something I'm a little bit late to because I was sick for the last week. So I'm not exactly, I wasn't exactly able to really talk about this because I just was a complete mess. But Zack Snyder went on the Joe Rogan Experience and he talked about a lot of things, but something that really stuck out was him talking about why he decided to have Batman kill in Batman v Superman. Now, here's the thing. I really liked Ben Affleck's Batman. I thought, he would have been great if he was given some better material because, like, I do feel like Ben Affleck was a good Batman, but he definitely didn't feel like Batman at times, and this is probably why. So we're just gonna watch this and see why Snyder didn't, didn't stick to the no kill rule.
Read those two comics, it's hard to go back. To like you want to, and it's because I care that I want to take them apart. Like I want Batman. Like people are always like, well, Batman can't kill, right? So Batman can't kill is canon. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing I want to do when you say that is I want to see what happens. And they go like, well, don't put him in a situation where he has to kill someone. I'm like, well, that's just like you're protecting your God in a weird way, right? You're making your God irrelevant if he can't be in that situation. He has to now deal with that.
Yeah.
If he does do that, what does that mean? What does it tell you about? Does he stand up to it? Can he survive that? Right? As a God, as your God, can Batman survive that?
I never thought that was canon, that Batman can't kill. But
well, for a lot of people, it is.
For anyone who knows about Batman, it is. It's a key part of his character. So it's just basically. And here's the thing: what he was trying to like get across there, it's not even a bad idea. It's been done multiple times. What happens if you put Batman in a situation where he might have to kill someone? And again, I say it's not a bad idea because it's been approached several different times to mixed results, not even including what Snyder did, but like Under the Red Hood, when Jason Todd was just like, you gotta kill him, like, either you kill me or I kill him. And Batman doesn't do it, and he explains why. He's just like, if I, cross that line. I can never go back. I'm just gonna be a murderer. That isn't. I don't like that explanation because it just makes Batman sound like a sociopath, like a psychopath, being like, once I murder one person, I will murder every person. And like, it's just kind of like, insane. But like, the thing is that he doesn't even do it with his version of Batman. Like, he does put him in a situation where he might have to kill someone, like with, the whole KG beast with a flamethrower. But at the same time, he kills people before then. He kills people in that warehouse fight. Like, there's a scene where he throws a guy against the wall, and you just see the blood drip down the wall after the guy hits the wall. Like, he cracked, almost as if he cracked the back of his head against the wall. He's gonna die from that. He killed someone there. So, like, obviously, this isn't just a situation of being like, this isn't just a situation of like, oh, I'm putting him in a scenario where he would have to kill someone. It's just you're making him kill. And also, with this whole thing of like, what happens when you put him in that situation? I don't know, maybe write a situation in which he doesn't kill the person but is able to solve the situation. Because like, here's the thing. If you have a character who has this guideline that he follows and he never goes off like, this is my line and I never cross this line, and you put him in a situation where he might have to cross that line, to me and to probably a lot of other people just from the response of that clip, it's not interesting to see him cross the line. You kind of want to see like, okay, well, he has this line, how does he like find his way around it? Like, I'm sorry, but like a situation in where you have Batman be like, oh, he is going to kill this person, so he just kills them. It's boring. It's lazy writing, honestly. It's not like you couldn't come up with anything better. Like, maybe he just like, cuts, like, in the situation with Martha Kent and the flamethrower. Okay, maybe he just, I don't know, cuts the like cable that connects like the gas and the flamethrower. I don't know how flamethrowers work, but isn't there like something like where the tank is connected to like the gun part of it? So why not just cut that part so that the flamethrower doesn't work? Like, if the whole situation is just, I'm just gonna shoot the flamethrower, have it explode. I mean, probably the sparks would still blow it up even if you hit the. Like, I don't know. And here's the thing, I can't come up with a situation because I'm not a writer. Like, I'm not like a very experienced, and I'm just trying to think of this off the top of my head, too. But at the same time, like, again, like, okay, if you can't think of your way around it, like, if I was writing that scene, I just wouldn't have the flamethrower because I don't know how flamethrowers work and if that would work or not. I would find someone else, just be like, okay, then he finds this way around. It's just kind of not interesting. Like, the least interesting part of that whole warehouse fight is the end where he shoots the guy with a flamethrower. It's just kind of boring. And again, I don't know, the way that he phrases it as being like, you're protecting this god, like, people don't look at Batman as like an ideal. They just look at him as a character. And they just want to have fun stories with him. But they still believe that those characters should be those characters, or else you're just making up an entirely new character who's unrelated and they have no interest in it. Like, I don't know. This whole thing, like, and he does talk about like some weird stuff in this podcast too that I'll get to. I don't want to like harp on it too much because like I don't really care about Snyder all that much. Not really. Like, I don't obsess over him being like, oh, he sucks. Oh, I don't like him. Like, I don't really care. Like, he has some movies that I think are cool. I think 300's cool, but for the most part, I just don't really care that much. But there's just some weird stuff. There's also like this scene, um, and I can't even really blame him because there's a lot of people who don't really understand the scene. But we'll just talk about it.
So in Dark Knight Returns, there's a scene where, and I copied it kind of in Batman vs. Superman, where he grabs the M60, he busts through the wall, and he grabs the M60, and he's like, the guy's like, in the comic book, he's like got this kid. The mutant has this kid with a gun to his head, and he's like, "I'll kill him. I swear I'll do it." And Batman says, "I believe you," and he shoots him straight in the head because it's like a no-win scenario. It's like the Kobayashi Maru of, the Kobayashi Maru is that in Star Trek. It's that test they put Kirk through where there's a no-win, right? Because they want to see how you'll react, right? So they say, okay, we're gonna make a scenario, a test scenario where you don't win, where there's no way to win. And in that situation, we find out what you would do in a no-win situation. Because if you're going to be the commander of this spaceship,
He could have just shot him in the arm. I'm gonna be honest. He could have just like shot him in the shoulder, shot him in the leg. I don't know. Shooting the tank, it feels like it's almost less safe. Because what if he didn't get to her in time?
You're going to be in situations where, it's life or death. And especially when there's no tricking it, right? There's no tricking death in this case. And the famous thing with Captain Kirk is he went and hacked the machine and made it so there was a solution. They would say, don't do.
Yeah, but that doesn't even help his argument. Because, like, yeah, he found another way. He tricked them and found another way. But the thing is that, like, you don't do that here. He just does it. Like, okay, he's in a situation, okay, like, Captain Kirk is in a situation he can't win. Well, he finds a way to make it so that he can win. Okay, you put Batman in a situation in which he has to kill someone, he just kills them. That's just boring. There's no circumventing, there's no, showing off his intelligence either, because Batman's supposed to be a very intelligent guy. So his solution just to be, I'm just gonna kill this person, just kind of shows that he isn't that intelligent or creative. Just being like, okay, you die, bye, bam. It's just not all that creative. I don't know. And also, with this part, now I know some people are gonna be like, oh, gets it wrong, because like, first of all, I think this is in support of Zack, despite the fact that the clip doesn't even really show the support, because this is from the movie Dark Knight Returns, which changed it so like that, unlike the comic book, people couldn't misinterpret it. Because in the comic there is a panel, and it looks like Batman, and some people interpreted it as Batman shooting the person through the head. Now, as someone who read Dark Knight Returns, I do believe it's in the shoulder. I just believe Frank Miller drew it kind of weird that it could be interpreted as a headshot, despite the fact that there were multiple times in Dark Knight Returns, after this scene involving the kid and the mutants, they list all of Batman's crimes, like all the crimes that he has committed, and despite the fact that it would be a major one, they never say murder. They never talk about him murdering someone or killing anyone, which is why it leads a lot of people to believe he didn't kill the mutant there. So again, it is kind of him. At the same time, while I do understand, there is enough evidence to show, like later on in the series, that he doesn't kill anyone. So it's, again, him not fully understanding the source material in which he's coming from. Also, Grant Morrison also decided to talk about this, which I was kind of surprised about. But at the same time, Grant Morrison really cares about these stories, so it's not that surprising to me. We got this article from Cinema Blend. I'm just going to cover a little bit about it. And we have right here, the 300 filmmaker kickstarted the old DCEU with his trilogy of films, including Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. That movie saw Ben Affleck play a violent and jaded version of the Dark Knight, with Snyder recently defending his choice to make him a killer. Writer Grant Morrison took umbrage with his assessment and posted on their Substack about why this was a misstep in their words. So, they kind of misgender Grant Morrison a little bit here. I was reading how the film director Zack Snyder thinks Batman should kill as part of the character's self-imposed mission to stop crime. If Batman killed his enemies, he'd be the Joker. Commissioner Gordon will lock him up. Yeah. It's just, and again, this is coming from someone who very much loves and appreciates DC continuity. If you have read Grant Morrison's work, you would understand that fully. Is Zack Snyder really not understanding the characters that he's working with? Or, like, trying to fit these characters into his understanding of them? I don't know. As Snyder explained, he wanted his DC movies to challenge how audiences feel about various figures from the comics, and that includes having Batman go against his code and use deadly violence, nearly killing Superman in the process. And when he returned for Justice League, he had seemingly learned his lesson. All right, well, at least he learned, but at the same time, it feels kind of more like he's just kind of mad how people portrayed it. He feels like, I don't know. He feels almost a bit mad how people reacted to it, but at the same time, when you have this character who is beloved by many people, and you take away a core element of that without really bringing anything interesting or new to the table, you can't expect people not to get mad at that. I'm gonna be honest. And I don't know, maybe it's just not him. I don't know. It doesn't feel like Zack Snyder can really take criticism all that well, because he also had this to say on the podcast too. This is from Variety. Zack Snyder doesn't have a rebuttal to critics hating Rebel Moon. It doesn't seem like there's much in it that would warrant such visceral responses. And just kind of reading the article a bit, Rebel Moon star Sophia Botella made headlines earlier this month when she told Vulture that critics bashing on Zack Snyder's space epic impacted her emotionally. The same wasn't exactly true for Snyder. The writer-director recently spoke to Empire magazine ahead of the second Rebel Moon film coming to streaming and said he doesn't have much of a reaction to the negative reviews of Part 1. He seems a bit perplexed over how exactly in the first how anything in the first Rebel Moon could warrant such hostile reviews. I don't really have a rebuttal to the reviews, Snyder said. For whatever reason, the reaction to my movies is very polarizing, and it always has been. The movie, it doesn't seem like there's much in it that would warrant such visual responses. Rebel Moon started as a Star Wars pitch that Snyder originally offered to Lucasfilm. The film stars Botella as a former soldier who recruits warriors across the universe to fight back against the evil Imperium when her farming colony is threatened. I always thought I was fully armed to take on those punches, and then I read the critics that came down on Rebel Moon and it really affected me. I'm just gonna be honest about it. I feel like I'm carrying it for everybody that cared so much about this project, and that's what affected me. Not the way I look. If anything, I'm pretty lucky and people like my work and people like my work in it, but the movie was criticized. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be criticized. And I mean, just continuing on with this, it really affected me for all those who put so much heart, tears, and sweat in this project. It's hard to see something being demolished to that extent. I'm proud to have been a part of it, and if there is no more Rebel Moon, it will be a very important part of my life that I will defend forever. And here's the thing, this is not trying to attack her either. And at the same time, obviously a lot of people put their work into it, but if it's not a project that people enjoyed or that people really liked all that much, it's gonna get kind of torn apart. And it's very unfortunate to see all it's very you know unfortunate to see all that hate online, but at the same time, if you're putting a piece of work if you're putting a piece of art out there, you have to understand that people are going to have their opinions about it, and you're just going to have to I don't know, it's really hard just to be move on from it, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But to me, it's just if your personal feeling about an art should always be more important than other people's. The way that you feel, there's a difference between looking at someone who is critiquing an artwork, like a piece of art, and then someone who's just straight up hating it. And then we have this right here. Snyder's first Rebel Moon movie has a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. Variety chief film critic Owen Gilberman called the film insanely derivative in his review, saying it knocks off Star Wars and a dozen other sources. It is a film built so entirely out of spare parts that it may, in the end, be for Snyder cultists only. And they end the article here with in a recent interview with Joe Rogan, Snyder championed a Netflix business model when it comes to releasing movies like Rebel Moon. He said the film earned around 80 million to 90 million views so far, which he equated to mean that more people probably saw Rebel Moon than Greta Gerwig's Barbie, which we're gonna get into, because that's not how that works. That's, in fact, it's really not how that works. And we're just gonna kind of look at it here. All right, and this is a quote from him from the review from the podcast. So say right now Rebel Moon has almost 90 million views, 90 million starts, or 90 million accounts turned it on, give or take. They assume 2 viewers per screening. And just with that quote there, 90 million views does not mean that 90 million people individually saw the movie. It does not. It does not mean that there are 90 million individuals who saw Rebel Moon. It's just that there is 90 million views in total. It's not 90 million individual views, just views. And just being like, oh well, Netflix assumes 2 viewers per screening. First of all, you can't really go based off that if you're just going off an assumption. Because you can't really assume that 2 people are just seeing it at the same time, because there's probably many people who just saw it by themselves. So like, if he wants to be like, oh well, like okay, then 180 million people saw it, like 92 180 million people saw it. Like again, it's working off an assumption here, so let's just continue. So you think if that movie was in theaters as a distribution model, that's 160 million people supposedly watching based on that math. So if you think that the movie was in theaters as a distribution model, that's 160 million people. And the thing is that also doesn't work too, because a lot of people have Netflix. Not a lot of people have the time to go out to a theater, buy a ticket, buy some snacks that are very overpriced, to sit down and watch a movie. So the reason why there's probably a lot of people who saw Rebel Moon, why there's 90 million views, is probably because they were just on Netflix one night and were just like, well, we don't have the money to go to the theater, we might as well watch a movie here, and let's turn this on. It's being advertised, it's a big movie, we'll watch it. That doesn't necessarily mean, it's very different. You have to take in the outlying factors when it comes to that. Based on an estimated price of $10 per ticket, Snyder then said Rebel Moon would have generated $1.6 billion if it was in theaters. And, I mean, just going back, and he does say all this to basically say that, right here, more people probably saw Rebel Moon than saw Barbie in the theater. That's how crazy Netflix, that's the distribution model they set up. That, again, just going back to the point of like, 90 million views doesn't mean 90 people individually saw it. Like, because if that was the case, then wouldn't it have been talked about so much? Wouldn't it have been talked about more than Barbie? Like, when Rebel Moon came out, no, not a lot of people were really talking about it. They talked about it for like a couple days, and that was it. And maybe even a couple days is a stretch. Like, I saw it being talked about for like 2 days, and then nobody talked about it. Barbie continued to be talked about for like weeks afterwards it came out. So it obviously had a bigger impact on people. It obviously did way bigger than it. It's just, again, it's kind of weird that he doesn't really, I don't know. And I'm not trying to do this just to attack Snyder. I just wanted to talk about this stuff because I found it really interesting. Like, again, I'm not trying to like, be an anti-Snyder guy. The Batman no-kill rule was talked about at length on nerd Twitter, so I felt like, it was something to discuss. Again, I understand where he's coming across with this. I mean, not with this. This kind of just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like a lack of understanding of how almost the economy kind of works right now, and how people like intake entertainment and content. Like, it just feels like a lack of understanding on that front. But this right here, it's like he had good intentions, but he just kind of went about it the wrong way, not really understanding what makes Batman interesting as a character is being that guy who would find a way around, you know, being put in a situation where he's forced to kill someone. It feels like Zack, like I think Zack Snyder does, have some good ideas when it comes to this, but maybe it's just the execution of them that doesn't really, come off right. Because, which to me very much summarizes his time with DC. Like I did like his version of Justice League a lot better than the Justice League version. But like, and it was a very good movie. Don't get me wrong. It's very long, very long. But like, there's stuff that I feel like he did a really good job on, like the portrayal of uh the apocalypse, like Dark Side. I thought like was pretty cool. Steppenwolf was pretty cool. Like that whole thing was pretty cool. But like, I don't know. Like the nightmare scene, I just really didn't like. The fact that he kept Jared Leto as Joker is definitely a choice. I don't know, but like, for having Batman say "I'll fucking kill you" to the Joker, I'm not. It didn't really rub me the right way. I'll say that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. I found his interview with Joe Rogan very interesting, and these are just a couple points that I wanted to bring up from the interview. But that's all I really had to say on the matter.